Okay, we're live.
Okay, this is the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting tonight on May 11th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And we have a new council member. Her name is Melissa Frank Elwell. And she was sworn in just a few minutes ago. She was selected by the council last night. She comes with a lot of experience, and we are happy to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good. Okay, this meeting is now called to order. We're going to do a roll call. Carrie.
Here.
Carrie. Melissa.
Here.
Paula, I'm here, okay. And Melissa, you weren't here the last time, so if you want to approve the minutes, that's fine. But I would like a motion to approve the minutes of the April 25th special meeting that we had.
I will make the motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting we had on April 25th, 2022.
Okay, Melissa seconds. And could I have a motion to approve? I would like a motion. I'm sorry, what?
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote, yes. Carrie?
Well, I mean, no, not roll call. You just have to,
Yeah.
all in favor.
All in favor?
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the minutes have been approved. And now can I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I will make the motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Okay.
And I was like, motion.
Okay, Carrie made the motion and Melissa seconded. Approval? Yay? All in favor?
Aye.
Yay. Okay, the one discussion item that we have on tonight is the, just a general discussion on conditions of some of the parks. I've been, it needs some TLC. I think we're all agreed on that.
Yes.
East Park, I took some pictures about 2 months ago, and there's actually moss growing on the concrete slab in the pavilion next to the cabin. I mean, I was walking around and I looked down and I went, oh, okay. And it would be on the north side. And I think if we just had some paint to paint some of the, like the swings out there, it's rusted, you know, you have to probably sand it down and paint. And I think that's a reasonable, we probably would have enough money to do that. And then those holes out there where people park their cars are abominable.
The potholes, you mean?
Well, the potholes are another thing, but those posts out there,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're deteriorating, and we just need to make it look more user-friendly, welcoming, and Matt Eckleberry has not gotten back to me yet on the exercise circuit out there, because those are put in by ODR and had to be in place for a certain amount of time, but they can be moved. So that was talked about in one meeting. But I sat out there, going out there and going through the neighborhood looking and going back to the park. I've never seen anybody use them. There may be a couple people out there, but I don't think they're used, you know, every day per se.
Now, as far as like painting some of the equipment out there that you mentioned, could that be something that some kids could help with?
You know what? That was something I could have to ask Palmer because it's a liability factor, I'm sure. But I will be glad to ask him. That way it would be good community service. I'm sure there's other kids in the high school that would be able to do that.
So yeah, they have to go, check through Nikki. I know we've had painters before and do
Right,
stuff.
yeah. And, good point.
Now, the moss,
That could be easily removed.
you can power wash
Yeah,
that.
it can be
Yeah.
power
Okay,
washed.
because I know that we had that issue, and you might have to do it, just depending on the condition, but that,
You could scrape it off and then power wash it and just keep an eye on
Because when it gets wet, it's very slippery.
It's very slippery,
Yes.
exactly. Also, the picnic tables could use some heat, that's a good idea. And, the baseball/softball field, I don't know what they're gonna use it for exactly, but, that should be finished this year too, there should be some new fencing around there. But we also have the skate, and your kids use that.
My kids do use
And-
that, and
and
there's
I-
like one piece of equipment there, they always complain about that, I'd like to see some more
It,
put in there
it
at some
needs
point.
to be painted and probably sanded because I got in there and there's some splinters in that. And, that's just another paint job and maybe a coat of marine
Sealer or
varnish on
something.
it or something,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But that's a good point asking, the high school. I can ask Palmer first and then I can go visit the high school.
I mean, the sanding part might be,
Yeah.
depending on what they use, like if you're using equipment maybe, but I mean, we just have those like sanding pads, that might not be too bad, but the painting, I don't see how they get too hurt doing
And
that, so.
I don't think we would be spending a lot of money out there just to make it look brighter, more inviting.
I know in previous years, they use to Job Family Services, they give
Right,
the
yes,
summer
they
youth, we've had a whole crew of those that
Yes.
donate and stuff.
Yeah.
Have they used those in the past couple of years? Do you recall?
I don't know with COVID if they could,
That's right.
right, with COVID, but they had before that, we got, because I remember the kids all coming in and
Yes.
covered in paint.
Yeah, Goodwill was paying some of them, 'cause I had one of my kids.
Well,
Yeah.
we've got two options then. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So one question I have is, in terms of what you had said about some of the equipment was not being used, is this time frame like a few years because the season just started? So I'm wondering if we need to assess whether it's going to be used more, or is this information based on the last few years?
Let me say it's based on the last
Okay.
few years. Also, what we had talked about on the East Park is putting two cornhole, places out
Mhm.
there. And they would have to be cement so nobody could put them in the trunk of their car.
Oh, sure.
and away. And everybody would have to have their own,
You guys?
bean bags. And I think two would be better, then you could have some competition maybe instead of everybody waiting.
Yeah,
But they would, and they're not that expensive, they're only about, I found some for 1,000 up to about 1,500, and maybe going through the state procurement, we could get them cheaper, who knows,
Mhm.
But, there has to be something more family oriented out there than
Sure.
the playground equipment. But those swings out there, they also have, from the kids using it, they have grooves in the,
Mm-hmm.
and then when it rains, they just fill up with water and you have just mud all over the place.
yeah.
I know
But the,
Vicki was talking about, they've recently, the last day or two, they went brakes, the rubber, and they're getting more rubber.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, because rubber deteriorates.
Yeah, that's what she said, yeah.
And it can become unsafe too.
Yeah.
You get a child sitting there, no street to run. But also, I think there's gonna be a more need because if they start those baseball games and softball games up this summer, there's gonna be families out there.
Yeah,
And how are you gonna keep a 5-year-old from not wanting to go over there and play on those swings and that playground equipment? And, the splash park is always busy. And they did put some picnic tables in there, for people to sit on. And, it's just been a good thing for the east side, well, the whole city of Gallup.
I think they added shade too.
Yeah, and they're shade down at the
Mhm.
end of it, exactly, yeah. And I think, it just needs to be more inviting. Look, when you, I don't know if you've ever done this, you stand back and look at something and you kind of go, and you squint your eyes. It just doesn't look inviting. We just need something colorful out there and, just spruce it up a little bit. Now, another place that I don't think has been focused on a lot in recent years is the Amen Davy Reservoir out on the county line. There's only one set of swings on the lower level. And when I was on the upper level, I was so focused on the rest of across the bridge, I forgot to look and see if that merry-go-round was still there by the pavilion. Has anybody been out there recently? I'm gonna go out this weekend or I'll take some pictures. But there's really nothing out there.
That really isn't.
No, there really isn't.
No.
It's just kind of barren. And there's the disc golf.
The disc golf.
But little kids can't play this.
No.
It's too much. But I just think if we, check them out and just paint them, I think, paint can be a big
Sure.
improvement on the face of it. But, I think Heisey Park is pretty good.
It is.
Except we discussed the crosswalks, and I will get with the mayor on that at some point. But I go out to the park and I start up a conversation with some people, and a couple of times I've been out there, they said, you need some crosswalks, because people are supposed to go 20 miles an hour down through here, and a lot of people don't go 20 miles an hour. And Belleville has these crosswalks with this little man out there that says slow down. Like there's one down here, slow down, and then one up here that says stop. And the mayor said they had talked about it before, but I think it's needed when you've got one playground on this side and one on the other. Plus you've got the kids down at the swimming pool this summer going across, they parked across the other side. But Heisey Park looks pretty good. I don't know, can you? I would like to see when they redo the square up there, those trees that are up there. I hope the city decides to put theirs out where they tore the trees down out at Heisey Park for that second playground. Instead of just pitching it, I think it would be good to repurpose them. They take them out and wrap them in the wall and stuff. That would be the kind thing to do,
Yeah.
because those trees are tearing up the sidewalks and everything.
Oh,
So
sure.
they're gonna grow, they're gonna be bigger. Just a suggestion, nothing's written in stone.
So did we talk about that?
Yeah,
You have to get an estimate for.
yes. You would have to have a nursery do it because they have the equipment.
Well, I mean, it could be part of Oakstone's, they're doing the.
Yes.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
Yeah, Oakstone's doing that, so I mean, the service director could get an estimate and if it's good,
yeah, just give it an estimate.
So that can maybe.
I will go down and talk to, he's a pretty decent guy. Has anybody else seen anything in the parks that they would like to fix? We're talking, now, Kobe Park has no equipment, playground equipment, and I think that was maybe years ago, done for years back ago. But the homeless hang out there, and they put a, porta potty down there. They are going to put in a restroom that's from last year's freeze money. And the dog park is down there. The biggest problem, like Carrie stated to me in an email, was that it's not open. It's locked.
Like people are complaining on Facebook about it. It's locked again, or why is it not open today again? Like,
The dog park?
yeah, over
Why
at
is it?
Park.
And who?
I guess the police are still working it?
Yeah, the police open the gates.
Oh, okay, so,
So maybe they're just too busy to swing by on certain days. Like
Yeah, maybe they'll get there too, if they're doing a drug bust or if they're doing something on a certain day,
Yeah.
they'll get there.
And the drive going in there is like Rustville going in through there. It's cool out there, I will say that.
It's
got a
pretty,
lot of shade
yeah.
in it, and it's pretty. And then South Park, last summer there was issues with the little ones playing T-ball or whatever they're playing now. And the restrooms were on the line. You got a 5-year-old that's gotta go. Gotta go, Mom.
Yeah.
well, and I was there, when normally do they turn the water on for water fountains and unlock the restroom.
And I think Nikki had answered that one time for me when I asked about it at IC Park, and she said that there's gotta be, multiple days of it being warm and no longer freezing it, for them to turn it on.
Well, I think we're
Yeah, she did,
Yeah.
the bathrooms are all open, last week,
Mhm.
we had the 3 days with the freeze warnings. So, yeah, so they're all open now, so.
And also is the cleaning of the restrooms. COVID is still out there. A lot of young kids aren't vaccinated, and they need to be cleaned very well, deep cleaning or whatever you want to call it.
And I was just on a call today, Ohio Healthcare Association, and it's on the rise again.
Yes, it
I don't
is.
know if, in terms of, in my profession, assisted living, but I would think that it is definitely kind of on the rise again, a different strain, so you're right, I think we need to be.
We need
Yeah,
to
I
be
took
very
my son
diligent
to
about
sensitive
that.
actually, because my son's been sick for 2 days, and I just got back from urgent care, before coming here. He got tested, it was good.
And I got my second booster shot. But I basically stayed inside. I ordered my groceries on the internet. They put them in the back of my car. I went through the drive-in to the drugstore. And if I had to go inside, I wore the N95 mask and gloves. I just thought, better be safe than sorry, because I had a condition I would probably die or whatever.
So we can, does somebody follow the cases in the county or city?
Yes,
I'm sure they do, but
the
where-
county health department does and the Galleon Health Department does,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, you can get on the website of both of them and they have them. There were 4 or 5 new cases in Crawford County this week.
Okay.
But I just think that, for the safety of all the citizens, they should be cleaned on a daily basis. But we also talked about we'd like to have some cornhole at the Heisey Park because the Pickle Run Festival in July, July 4th, they have talked about having, having a contest or whatever. And then we also, they are going to be, I think this is a definite with the freeze money on the pickleball court.
I was just going to ask about the courts, that tennis court
Yes.
over there in High
There's-
Park. What?
There's a court behind the Y.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an old tennis court. And a tennis court will make 4 pickleball courts. And the reason I know this, I have a very dear friend that she is such an enthusiast. And she's really into it. She has been for 3 years. And she lives up around here in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And they have an outdoor court, but they raised money through whatever and had a removable awning that rolls back so they can play in the rain. This is how dedicated these people are.
They play pickleball at the Y though too,
Yes.
but I guess you would have to.
Yeah. But this would be a draw for the Pickle Run Festival. You have more.
And these would be
Right.
permanent.
Right, because every year Terry calls me, she says, are they going to do pickleball? I said, no, not this year, maybe next year. But I
Well, I
said,
know the only time I saw it used was when the daycare would use it for the kids.
well, they've got another plan for the outdoor daycare
Okay.
that came from the freeze money,
Mm-hmm.
because that is outdoor recreation,
They're
But,
moving them over to the shuffleboard court, which is right next
Right.
door, and
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll test that in.
there's plenty of,
Okay.
it doesn't look like it, but if you go around the amphitheater there and go down, and there's a lot. There's also another tennis court down the hill, or is that the one they're talking about, the pickleball? That's the one no, the one up closer to the Y is the one they're talking about pickleball, isn't it?
There's only one.
Well, there's
tennis court there.
there's two choices out there anyway. Yeah, there's one down the hill there that nobody uses. It's always locked when I've been out there. But that's another nice park back in there. It's shady, it's cool, and that's where they do the summer concerts. Have you been to summer concerts? Yeah. But I just think the parks have been kind of neglected, and they just need some. You know, with COVID and everything, there was a lot of stuff that wasn't getting done. That's nobody's fault.
The high seas was very nice.
Right, and just some paint and, you know, but I like the idea of using children. I'll get with Palmer on that, and because that's a good way of doing community service.
Yeah, it saves money.
And if they really like it, we can maybe. South Park is another one that doesn't have a lot of. And I've gotten citizens calling me complaining about the dog poop at South Park. People are not putting their bags in the garbage cans, you know.
There's even a bag place to put
Yeah,
it
there's
on
a
the
pla-
bag
yeah.
container as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So,
I have always taken a big wad of paper towels and 2 plastic bags when I take my dog for a walk, because you pick up what your dog leaves. That's just a courtesy, but it's also unsanitary to leave that out there too. And one time I stepped in my neighbor's big dog's doo-doo. I very carefully picked it up and I put it in the paper bag and I laid it at his door. And he came over and he says, "I got your message." And he didn't do it after that, so. But it's a courtesy, and people like the dog park, but you have to be courteous to the other people that use it. I think that's how I feel. I took Libby, my dog, out there a few weeks ago, and there was nobody out there, and we went through the gate, and she's kind of. Then all of a sudden, she just took off, and she ran with her leash. So I just let her run until she was tired. But I think it's a good thing, you know. But the one out at Kobe is bigger, I believe, isn't it?
I think it's divided,
Hmm?
isn't it? Is it divided too, I think?
I'm not sure.
Talked about, I have not seen it.
I was out there one day when it was raining. I was trying to see from my window. Then I got my umbrella out and walked back, and it was really coming down. But I'm going to go out this weekend and check the parks out. If anybody wants
Two
to come
gates,
with me.
I think there's a trash can by each gate, because the trash cans are on the outside of the.
Yeah, right. If anybody wants to come with me, email me or text me.
Okay.
Yeah. I finally got everything out of my car after my move. Carrie knows what it was like. But anytime, you know, this is a committee meeting that you know, if you see something at a park or whatever, and you may have a citizen call you, you know, just take the information and tell them you'll look into it or whatever.
Okay.
What about the question that I was asked about getting the little bridge?
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be slated for this year. I noticed in the budget it said 2023, next year I mean. A citizen came up with a suggestion of putting a walking bridge out at Amon's, and I think it was the lower part, or was it? Yeah, it'd have to be the lower part. See, they have those cross country relays out there. And that's a family event. If you've ever been out there, it's just lots of family. And then the council had talked about, just recently, about the cars parking out there. They're parking on the highway, which is rather dangerous.
Yeah.
And maybe making a parking lot on the upper level. But that's another nice place. It's shady out there, and there is a restroom. And probably towards the end of summer and the fall, there's a lot of mosquitoes out there, but
When do they do the
They
mosquito
do,
abatement?
yeah, they do that. The health department sends out a notice on that. It's usually on the city's website or Facebook. It comes up because I volunteered on my Facebook to get posts from the health
But
department.
that park is, all the parks are included in that.
Yes.
It's just, they just have so much of that standing water
Oh, yes.
that it makes it, I think, probably difficult
Yes.
to control.
And that park out there by the Y is city property. The Y leases some of that land out there, is my understanding. But we have Amix and Amons, which are over the county line, just over the county line. And we have Heisey Park, South Park, Kobe Park, and
East Park.
what?
East Park.
I'm sorry.
East Park.
And East
Oh, East Park. Oh yeah, my favorite park. I really like that park actually. It's been there for a long time. I wonder if that was one of the first ones, because it's been there a long time. But it's just this big rectangle, and I would imagine back in the 50s and 60s it was a very active playground and sports thing out there.
It was a very busy park for a long time. Like when we first moved to Gallion, that's where we went.
Yeah.
To see East Park all the time, and then we started going to ICU or whatever.
Yeah. The thing with Heisey is the swimming pool's there. And there used to be a swimming pool at East Park, but it formed a leak with a big crack, so they decided to fill it in and make a.
That's what the skate park is now.
Yeah.
Skate park.
Skate park.
East Park. that's
But they
what-
tried to make it
What
a.
was where the
skate
splash
park.
park?
Right.
They tried to make it into a skating rink, but it wasn't done properly, so then it became the skate park. There's almost room for another piece of equipment out there with that. On the back, on the north side of that park. That's something, I'm sure the kids would love that.
Yeah, that's what my kids talk about all the time. Is that there's only one piece out there, and they'd like
Yeah.
to see more.
And you see kids all over town in the summer. I did the help the feed the children thing one summer. I volunteered. These 10-year-olds just zooming up on their skateboards. And there was one kid, I went to 3 places every day to do this, and this kid would ride his skateboard in between each one to get another meal.
Oh,
And I thought, you know what, I bet he has some siblings at home. He was just, and then when he saw me, and I said, I'm not going to say anything. And nobody else was there from where I was. But I thought, he's hungry, or he's got some siblings. But anyway, if you come up with any ideas and you want anything on the agenda, just email me, text me, or whatever. I always have my phone with me sometimes. Sometimes I just need a few hours not to hear it ringing.
Everybody needs.
Well, at my age, I get a lot of spam calls about Medicare. But I think the parks have a lot of potential in this town, but I would like to see them utilized more. And I think if we have more sort of family-oriented things, it might work better. We have had some vandalism, and we've talked about cameras.
Do you know where we're at with that?
No, it's very expensive, I understand.
Yeah.
But there's been some vandalism at Heisey Park, especially. Oh, and there's vandalism in East Park. They took the flower pots and turned them upside down.
Oh, nice.
South Park, not a lot down there. There really isn't.
No, there used to be complaints about kids vandalizing the ball field over there at one time, but I haven't heard anything recently.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that either. But I think the splash park was a good thing for the east side because they lost their swimming pool.
Yeah.
And the swimming pool is packed all summer. Do you take your kids there in the summer?
Yes.
Yeah.
I buy passes and
Yeah.
go, yeah.
It's a good thing, but it's getting older too.
I know.
Yeah, it's they had to replace the slide
Yeah.
and something with the kiddie pool a couple of years ago. But Gallion has a lot to offer. Actually, I think.
It's a huge attraction.
That's one of the reasons I retired here. Went from the big city to a small town. And then,
So my question is, where do we start in getting some of these things accomplished? So what do we need to do?
okay, I'm going to talk to Palmer about the liability
Okay.
factor. And then,
I mean, if we can get some waivers for the parents to sign, I'm sure parents would not mind signing, just to have kids come do some painting,
right.
so.
And I'll find out if they have that summer program from Jobs and Family Services.
They usually do, so usually Goodwill gets involved with that as well, and then there's Jobs and Family Services, there's the, I have kids that I'm hooking up with stuff now, so Jobs and Family Services is doing a day, I'd have to look at my calendar and see what day that is, but where they're doing some job training for some kids, and then there's also Crawford Works is also.
That's right, I forgot about Crawford Works, yeah.
So, and so the only one I don't know about at the moment, as far as schedules go, is Goodwill. So that would be someone that we could reach out to and find out if they are doing it, when are they doing it, so that we can get that out there.
So with this, with schools, does that extend to Pioneer?
Yes, that would be included, yeah.
Because I thought that maybe that would be something that they.
Well,
So then where do we look at like costs of the cornhole?
right.
And does the city would do the power washing for the moss, or
No,
I guess.
I would imagine the city would do that.
Okay, so I guess my question is, do we start with one park, or do we?
I think on the cornhole things, I think we should order them all at the same time. We maybe get a better price.
Oh, sure.
And like I said, they have to be something that somebody just can't throw in the trunk of their car or the back of their truck. They've got to be heavy and stay in one place. They can't, we don't want it to move.
Permanent.
And are you going to
Permanent,
do the
yes.
same for the pickle, or not the pickleball, but yeah, pickleball?
Yeah,
Those are going to be permanent structures as well.
right. Yeah. But I think that would be more stuff that the Pickle Run Festival could offer people too. People just coming in and saying, oh wow, they've got some new stuff. There's 2 horse show pits out at Icy Park.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be one at East Park a few years ago.
Yeah, I would have to go out there and look again, I'm not sure.
But that one side of East Park is right in that one area by the cabin is pretty crowded right there. It's just like everything's right in there. And at some point we're probably going to have to address the cabin too at a later point.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all doable stuff, and it's not going to cost. The biggest expense we would have would be the cornhole fixtures more than anything. But if we can go through state procurement and get them maybe at a better price, that would be good too. I'm sure that there's contractors that have realized that, and they probably have built molds for them, I would imagine, like concrete contractors.
Mm-hmm. Is there?
It's a process. It's a process.
I was going to say, in terms of the funding, is there a requirement to have like 3 estimates or bids, or how does?
I don't know how they do it. We don't do that as a council member.
This all needs to go through the city service director. She's the purchasing.
Yeah, Nicole Ward does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
good.
we would have to approve it in committee and then take it out of committee to council. And
The cornhole bowl, anything under 50,000 is, the council doesn't have to approve.
right, yeah.
Okay.
But I would hope they'd be under 50,000.
How many?
Well, we talked about
2 sets.
We talked about 2 sets at East Park, and then Aaron said he felt that should be 3 sets at Heisey Park since it's a more populated area in town. We could look at 5, I think. 5 might be a good number. And that way they could probably really have a good cornhole tournament at the festival.
So is it feasible to have it done by the festival? Or is this not
It's
the
possible.
pickleball court and the
That, I don't know.
okay.
That's the mayor's province, so I don't get into that.
I feel like that's a very short time frame if we're going to do it. Maybe
I know.
we'll get it done.
It took me 4 months to get that ordinance to council on the pad for the splash park. Let's see, this is the middle of May, June.
I mean, I
It's
understand.
feasible,
Yeah,
'cause
it's a process. I just.
Yeah, it's
I'm
it is a process, but it's doable. It's doable, but depending on what else is going on with the
Yeah.
city crews as well,
That's true.
because we'd be dependent on them to
Right.
unless we have the contractor set them up or whatever. That's another possibility. And on those cornhole things, there's a thing. It's not a hole. It's just you got your usual opening, but it's like a little shelf behind it. It's molded like a shelf, and it goes there. But anybody have anything else they would like to discuss tonight? I think we got a lot of discussion done tonight.
Yeah, you contact Mr. Palmer, let us know about.
I'll get with Palmer. I'll try to get with him tomorrow.
Because then if it's easy enough, we can schedule something.
Yeah. And I'll check on the summer programs as well. And I'll stop by Goodwill and see if the manager can direct me in the right place or whatever
It's
too.
usually out of the one in Marion.
I was
But you can
wondering because I
contact
know
JFS for
that Marion, Crawford, and
I know they've been to talk to Nikki multiple times.
Wyandotte or
Because we've had
Seneca
people
are
before.
part of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I would say JFS, because that's where when one of my kids did it before, they helped paint the ball field at High C, the dugouts. JFS is the one that hooked her up with that. So JFS could give you contact information.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to like order paint, or do they have it in stock, or how does that process
The
work?
city uses Lowe's for odd things. We have an account.
okay.
with, yeah.
And I don't know if they already have paint on stock or colors that they use. I have no
They
idea.
may even
Probably have
Yeah, Nikki, that would be.
yeah they may.
Okay.
I'll get with Nikki as soon as I can, but I think we've accomplished a lot tonight. Anything else, anybody?
No?
Well, can we have a motion for adjournment, please?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
And I will second that motion.
Meeting is adjourned at
7:40.
7:40. Geez, that was kind of a long meeting. Good.